since this is an orchestra forming itself, it's really important these first few weeks, almost more important than ending up having a concert which sounds good, is having a group of people who already sense that process and the experience of playing in lots of different ways is valuable in and of itself. So for me, the most important thing in preparation for Tchaikovsky and Sibelius is using these as vehicles by which we form the inner fabric of what it is to play in an orchestra. Various of the things that we've done, like switching people from the whole string sections from back to front, front to back, are meant to give people a couple of vantage points from which they can assess how to lead and how to make something happen, whether or not they're far away or up close.
You can hear really well on the stage from sitting in all different places. I could hear all the way across the orchestra really well. I couldn't hear my own section very well. I don't know if they weren't playing enough, or I think it was just that, yeah, but I could hear the whole orchestra. It was a lot of fun. And a different experience, definitely. I can see better. I don't have to look up like this to play. It's really nice. So no one should be down buried in their music if they're sitting in the back.
On the first rehearsal, I just sort of sat there in awe, because this was the first time I've ever actually been in front of like a symphony orchestra before. You know, like I've seen them in concert and stuff, but I've never actually sat with them. And just the amount of sound that came out of that room was amazing. The ability of the horns to get that sound, it's beautiful.
Playing the opening of Tchaik 4 is like you just really have to be focused and everybody has to breathe at the same time. You have to be totally in tune and be in the game. You just have to be ready.
Movement especially is just so powerful and heartbreaking in a way. It's a really his most disastrous movement in terms of the expression of what's being dealt with or talked about. A meandering quality, a kind of injured quality to the music. Those three character movements, the second, third, and fourth movement, are incredible. The first movement is kind of a huge symphonic poem unto and of itself, and it has rhythmically his most challenging music, more challenging than anything in the fifth or sixth, just in terms of like Tchaikovsky as pre-Stravinsky is more embodied in that movement, to the extent that the melody, which is divided up, those 9 beats can actually be 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. As an institute of higher learning, we're exploring the ways in which different beats can help emphasize stuff and keep syncopations as responses to beats, rather than trying to stuff everything into a general and uniform 9/8 pattern.
Tchaik 5 is my favorite. The horn solo at the beginning of the second movement is like the whole reason I went into music. It was like the first piece where I really was, instead of just like this sounds nice, was one of those things where I really like felt something. So I just kind of have a partial thing to Tchaik in general. Tchaik 5.
The second movement opens with the oboe solo, and that is why Tchaik 4 is so much better than Tchaik 5. And the first movement is just this huge, crazy energy rush, and then I'm supposed to come in calmly and simply and gracefully, and it's very hard to do. It's supposed to sound like this.
Yeah. Was this simple up there again? I'm really...
It's an oboe solo at the beginning, sort of turns into a bassoon solo, which in Russian music is always either kind of a buffoon, clown character, or the absolute kind of darkest, most desolate of instruments. And at the very end, you have the whole last thing done by kind of dark Russian bassoon that kind of sort of floats off into the world of nothingness.
We thought that we would do a little practicing backstage. We're backstage before rehearsal.
Yeah, we're really nervous about the third movement. I have a big solo, Jess has a big solo.
Janet, I bet I can play faster.
Jess, this isn't a contest.
It's always a contest.
That was pretty good.
I mean, in the actual music, mine is faster.
It's always fun to play Tchaik 4. It's a lot of tricky chromaticism. It's a lot different than the 151.
It's really exciting. That's like all we really talked about in my lessons. It was a big excerpt, and it was really cool to actually be the one who's playing it. I thought I would go to a graduate student. I guess I lucked out in that one.
I think my favorite moment in the Tchaikovsky is actually the end of the last movement, because it's so big and it's just everything in the symphony in one like 2.5 minute thing is. So it's great. I think it's very big, very powerful.
James Stern is both a friend and an incredible thinker about music and writer about music, as people might notice from the program notes when they check into that. But I always love kind of standing next to him, watching where his mind and ear is going. Obviously, his main focus right now is just playing the bejesus out of the solo violin part.
One nice thing about this situation that differs from other professional concerto situations is that I started rehearsing with the orchestra right on their very first rehearsal when they were first reading through the piece. So we've actually will have had the opportunity to develop together as a group over the course of 3 weeks, I think. And that's very nice, because it actually is a kind of complex piece. A lot of very interesting, fascinating rhythmic complexities to it, and often those have to be glossed over if one is just, you know, bringing the soloist in for the dress rehearsal.
I think one of the hardest challenges of accompanying a concerto like the Sibelius Violin Concerto is that each member of the orchestra has to basically learn the part of the soloist to accompany them. And so if everybody doesn't listen to the piece before or in rehearsals or you know get the score, it's going to be hard for them to accompany the soloist.
I'm playing on Tchaik and Sibelius, and they're both nice pieces. I don't know what to say. I like playing loud, so that's why I like Tchaik. And Sibelius is like, it's more just blending in, that's a difficult part, but it's still a really nice piece. So. I think it's fun. I think Dr. Stern is doing a great job, and it's you know, always good to hear local interpretations of teachers here. And knowing the concerto myself, playing it myself, I think playing the orchestra part is also very educational for us, because then when we play, kind of know what's going around. It's easier.
And it is, of course, a very orchestral concerto. I was amazed the other day, standing there rehearsing the first movement and needing to stand a long time while the tuttes were being rehearsed, just how little playing the soloist actually does in the first movement. As it happens, I never got around to playing it until now. So my life, I guess, is coming full circle, and it is very satisfying to finally get to it. And it's a big challenge. I'll admit that on camera. Not an easy piece.